So we're going to have fun this afternoon. And I want to start out with people stretching in the way that feels good for them. So the majority of us can stand up right now and just reach to the sky or twist or turn or do whatever feels good. Yeah. Sitting for a long time here. Also, you kind of come back into your body and kind of mindfulness, right? Oh, what does that feel like right now? Be mindful of some wetness on the napkins and stuff like that. It's okay, things happen, and we can just laugh and enjoy ourselves and make the best out of any scenario. So, all right, you can sit down again. Thank you. So I want to first of all congratulate you. It's really a true bow. The fact that you would come here today for a retreat for yourselves, I think that's extremely important. We're wired biologically to be compassionate towards other people, right? So it's just so easy and natural to see somebody else who's in need and want to extend our heart to that person and do something practical for them and so on. And it's much harder. I've just seen that we just finished our 60th retreat. One of the main issues that people say is it's really hard to be self-compassionate or to take care of themselves. And I really see the self-care, self-love as the foundation to being, your best self, to being, if you're helping somebody else or whatever role you play in life, whether it's, mother, brother, sister, daughter, whatever it is, whatever role you play, your best self is so much more effective when you take care of yourself. So, first of all, I just want to thank you for that. Secondly, I want to share some kind of brain science today. And the first concept is that of called neuroplasticity. And the idea is that your brain is the organ that changes itself. It's the organ that continues to change throughout your lifetime. And the fact is that no matter what you practice from a kind of psychological perspective or what you think about, those type of things, whatever you practice, you get better at, right? So if you practice being flustered, nervous, upset, your brain will get very, very good at that, and the neurons in those pathways will get stronger and stronger and stronger. If you practice being more centered, compassionate, caring, clear-minded, you will get better and better and better at that. And it's kind of like, actually I'm gonna regress to a North American native tale, and it's the tale of the grandmother, kind of the wise woman from her tribe, and she's approached by the grandson who is like a teen, and he approaches her and says, "Grandmother, how is it that you're so kind and compassionate? People really enjoy your company, and people want to be with you, and it's such a joy to be with you. You're so wise and helpful to everybody." And she says to her grandson, "It was when I was about your age that I realized that there were two wolves within my heart, the wolf of love and the wolf of hate. And depending on which wolf I fed would be the wolf that would grow throughout my lifetime." Right? So, and there are a lot of the grandmothers are here right now. I know your character is here, but how did she become that way? She became that way by practicing, seeing the good, by being compassionate, by being centered, and so on. So that's the first principle that I want to talk about, is this idea that you need to practice the state of mind that's best for you, that you want to manifest in the world. And the truth is that will either happen naturally, it will happen automatically, like life will do this to your brain, or you can be conscious about it and actually kind of reverse engineer and decide the states of mind that you want to manifest more. Because we're all given this spirit, we're all given this life, we have this choice to actually practice those two states of mind. Either you feed the wolf of love or you feed the wolf of hate or fear. Same beast. And we all have both of those within our hearts. That's just the truth of the psyche of a human being. And the other thing I want to kind of talk about and teach today is this idea that our brains, through evolutionary process, are in either state of mind. They're either in the kind of wise, compassionate state, or they're in their stressed, irritable state. And throughout the day, we kind of flip back and forth between the two. And essentially the talk right now and the exercises that we're going to do together is how to keep yourself in the wise, compassionate part of your brain more often so you can be your better self and your happier self and more effective self. So that's really going to be the teaching for the next 45 minutes or so. So that's one big, huge warm-up to say that we actually can practice something that I call setting the intention. For those of you who have kind of more spiritual or religious connotation, you could hear that as prayer. But the idea is that we can consciously choose how we want to go into any situation, to kind of see the scenario and say, well, how do I want to respond? Instead of being blown by the wind in every direction, we say, well, what's my center point? How do I want to manifest within this world? And I see setting the intention in kind of two scenarios. One, I like to try to do that first thing in the morning. So I'm saying my prayers, if you want to say it that way. It comes up more in a more secular fashion at the start of the day. Or it's kind of like into that, like I was saying my intentions as I was driving here. I'm about to give a presentation, I'm nervous, I'm upset, okay, well let me love them, let me be kind, let me be clear. I'm setting an intention there, or whatever it is. Maybe you're going into a difficult conversation with a family member, or you're, having to do something that's more difficult within your day. And so you decide, just as you're going into it, okay, what is most important? This relationship with this person is most important. I don't have to have my way. I don't have to be right in this conversation. I want to maintain connection, could be what's most important to you, right? So you're conscious about it going into the difficult situations. And just before we practice our first kind of technique, I want to offer you my morning practice, my morning ritual. So I meditate most mornings with my wife. We sit in a room together. And for the first maybe 10 minutes or so, it's like pure mindfulness, bringing my attention back to my breath. And I'm starting to think, about today, what's going to happen at the Caregivers talk, and am I going to get there in time, and will the pediatric clinic go over time? Like I get caught up in this kind of thinking, and I bring my attention back to, and then I'm off thinking about, my boss, I shouldn't have said that yesterday at rounds. I should be a little bit more respectful. Such an idiot. Why? And I bring my attention back. And this is like 20 years later, right? This is what happens. It hasn't changed a bunch, but it's actually very helpful. I can go over the neuroscience of meditation later, but it's actually very helpful to kind of ground me and keep me focused and so on. So it starts out with kind of pure mindfulness, bringing my attention back, the muscle of paying attention to the here and now. And then I do kind of like I'm asking, it's like, please guide me. It's like the transcendent perspective. Please guide me today. Please help me. Let me be kind. Let me bring my light and love into this world. I want to be your servant. However you want to kind of visualize that. So it's like an opening, a reception to something that's bigger, the highest principles, however you want to say that, bringing that to manifestation. And then the third component, I actually do like a prostration. So I'm kneeling down, putting my head on the floor, and kind of coming back up again. And I like that as the last symbol. It's like I'm submitting to something that's bigger than myself. Yes, I was proactive. There's a proactive portion of this that I want to do something helpful, but ultimately I'm submitting to something bigger as the third component of the ritual. That's my intention at the start of the day. The days that I meditate, I've been meditating for 20 years now, the days that I meditate, I feel more centered, more compassionate, more effective. I'm doing like one thing at a time, paying attention to that thing. I'm just in a better space. And I recognized that as the years went by, I was using that same kind of meditative practice on the day-to-day. Right? I'd be talking with somebody, and then I would start to think, after work I've got to go to the grocery store and pick this up. Type thing, and I recognize I'm actually not even listening to this person, and there's my muscle of paying attention back to the conversation again. So I recognize I was bringing that kind of meditative state back into it. In the same way I was trying to bring my kind of setting of the intention back into the day-to-day moments. What's most important? Okay, so that's the big preamble to ask you to do a little bit of a meditative visualization with me. If you would, and again, throughout this kind of exercises, to participate in the way that feels right for you. There's no right or wrong. You don't have to agree with me. Do the exercises that feel well. I'm just going to grab a chair here, 2 secs. Grazie. Okay, as you feel willing, bring yourself off the back of your chair. You might have to move your chair away from the table a little bit. First thing, when we practice a meditation or relaxation, it's something what I call body-mind connection. Right? It's not just like, I'm going to change my thoughts and attitudes and that will make my body feel better. It's one wired system such that when you allow your body to be strong and centered, it actually sends a signal up to your brain to, say, I'm in a centered space. In fact, sorry, I'm going to do one more thing. Can everyone, as you're able, can you stand up? I want you to take the kind of Wonder Woman position. So this is the power pose, right? So you're taking up space, and I can keep you here for about a minute, because there's some data to suggest that if you take a strong stance, you actually change the chemistry within your brain. So you get increased testosterone, kind of stronger, and less cortisol, which is the stress reaction. You're like saying, I'm taking space, I'm strong. And they've used this in corporate training, right? To teach people prior to a presentation to kind of take that kind of proactive stance, the Wonder Woman stance. The power pose is actually what it's called. And I actually did this, CTV News was doing like World Cancer Day, and they were interviewing me. So I did the power pose when I was off in the wings type thing. It's kind of weird, eh? Who's this guy over there looking like Wonder Woman? And actually I went and I thought I did a better interview that time. I kind of sat at the edge of my chair. I felt stronger. I was looking right into the eyes of the interviewer. I wasn't like so worried about, oh, what are people going to think of my answers? I was like connecting with that person. I just felt I did a better interview. So thanks, guys. You can have a sit. I hope you feel more powerful. So it's what I call body up, right? You take a strong and dignified posture right now, so feet are flat on the floor, hands on your knees. You can lean forward a little bit and then a little arch in your back and come back up to the point where the spine is strong and you're hardly using any muscle, right? So you're taking that noble and strong physical response, and you are safe now, so you can just take a sense of relaxation and alertness at the same time. Bring your hands on your knees. You can have your eyes looking down. You can close your eyes, but I actually prefer to keep the eyes open. Just the feeling that the top of the head is being pulled up towards the sky. So we practice our mindfulness to start out with, and that is to bring the consciousness into the physical body and to become very curious, very, very curious. You let go of the kind of catastrophizing voice and you come back home to the physicality of your body. And no matter what you feel, it's kind of a sense of acceptance, kind of sense of mindfulness of whatever's there without having to change anything. So you energize your body by bringing your attention into your body. And bring your attention to your feet being connected to the floor, so that's kind of sense of groundedness. And it's okay that you'll hear voices outside of the room. It's just the world doing its thing. Bring your attention to your backbone. Sense of that kind of solid physicality. And bring your attention to the front of your chest. So again, that's probably a sense of openness, a sense of warmth, maybe a sense of vulnerability or rawness. That's normal. So that's our humanness. You have a strong, solid spine, warm hardness at the chest. You have both of those. On the next in-breath, breathe in a sense of calm and peace. Like, invite that into your life. And the out-breath, you release and relax. So that universal energy of calm and peace is there. You draw it in on the in-breath. And you ground, release any sense of tension, stress on the out-breath. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to warm up our heart with a sense of compassion or care. And so this is the visualization part of this. So imagine at the heart level, the middle of your chest, that there's a warming, kind of a caring sensation. And this might be easiest to bring to mind a loved one, someone who you deeply love, or maybe a pet, or maybe at a different time in your life, maybe when your kids were young, or maybe when you were young and you just really loved your parents or your grandparents, or and you really had a good time with your partner, and that was a really wonderful time in your life. So as you visualize that, allow your heart to warm, just that sense of love and connection. Sense of radiance starts to come at the level of the heart level. Openness. Now bring to mind somebody in your life who's suffering in some way or form. Could be somebody very close to you, could be somebody at a distance, family member, friend. And again, from kind of the heart level, allow that kind of sense of golden warm energy to extend from your heart to that person. And wish them well. May they find peace and healing, whatever way is best for them. And again, allow that heart energy to warm again, kind of like the sunlight radiating from your chest now. And send that to all the loved ones in your life, all your family and friends. So those people bring to mind are your pets. Just allow your heart to warm. Allow that kind of sense of radiance outwards. And now extend that again so you have limitless capacity to send that sense of love and connection to anybody, anywhere. Anybody, any caregiver in this world who's struggling in some way or form. Send them your love. Send them your peace. Anybody, anywhere in the world who's suffering in any way or form. Extend that outwards. And recognize that as you're doing that, this healing energy is washing over you. You are a radiant beam of light. It's radiating through your tissue, through your psyche, through your spirit. And from that perspective, set an intention for yourself. What is that you want to manifest more of in your life? How is it you want to be in this world? What is your best self? And just make an aspiration to walk away from the day-to-day in that higher, more compassionate, more wise state. Walk into the world from your best self. And let go of any sense of visualization now, simply coming back to the sense of being grounded in the body. Sense of being connected with the floor, the earth below, and with a sense of mind, of openness, possibility for transformation, connection above. And recognize that your good human heart holds both of those. And I'm just going to finish with the chimes then, to finish off the visualization. Great. Okay, you can go back to whatever relaxed space is. Whatever feels good for you. Thank you. Thank you. It's wonderful energy in here. Really, there's some. It's wonderful just to be with you. So, we're actually going to do an exercise right now, and that is to share just some of your experience. Not everybody here is a quote caregiver. I know you have different experiences in the world, but I think we've all been in that scenario where we've had to be the one who's had to take the heavier burden within a relationship. Maybe when your kids are sick, you have to really take care of them a lot, or maybe there was something else that happened in your life. So I want you to reflect back when you were in the role of caregiver. What was most difficult? What was the thing that you struggled with the most? What was the thing that psychologically or spiritually pulled at you? That was the struggle or the difficulty? And what I'd like you to do is to break up into partners of 2, and especially try not to go with somebody that you know. So spread that out. If you need to get into groups of 3, that's fine. But essentially the exercise is going to be for one person to talk at a time and just talk a little bit about their experience as the caregiver type of position and what was most difficult for you. And the other person, I want you to just try to listen, right? So I'm actually going to manifest it. Once you choose your partners, I'm going to manifest it, so I'm going to force one person to talk and one person to listen. So first thing first, please find somebody you don't know super well and that you're willing to share something with. Excellent. Okay, as you're finding your partners, decide, and your triplets or how it's going to be. Partners is best. Decide who's going to talk first. It's going to be about 3 minutes, sharing a bit of a story.